Good evening, brothers, and welcome one and all. Tonight, we're going to talk about why MGTOW is for normal men and normal men only. And you might notice I have the most normal of monks right up here on the stage with us is Mr. Hammerhand.
That's good to see you guys, man. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
Anytime. And we're, what the hell? Why am I talking about this now? Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know. You got to tell us why you're talking about this now.
Well, because the other night, there was some people that I heard talking about why the LGBTQ plus community deserves to be in MGTOW along with women. And, well, those guys don't really understand what MGTOW is. They love to take the men going their own way and say, well, homosexuals are men, so they should be part of our group. Yeah, that makes sense. Why shouldn't we do that? Well, there's
you see, look, there's a reason that it's men at the head of that acronym, men going their own way. Everybody else has tried to disinvest and disincentivize normal, regular working men. Okay, so those men don't really have real representation. They don't have a real voice. What they do have are a whole bunch of folks out here that have figured out how to take advantage of them and skin them alive. That's what they do have. So It's fellas like us that kind of stand in the way of that and say, no, we're not going to do that anymore. And I'm going to stand in your way, and I'm going to challenge you to present your point why homos, faggots, lesbians, and all of these other divergent lifestyle people should be able to include themselves with me.
Well, the thing is MGTOW as a philosophy, was invented. It was conceived to protect normal men from the fuckery and the usury that comes from a normal relationship when you get married or cohabitate or have children with a woman. And a homosexual doesn't do any of that type of stuff. Neither does a tranny or any other type of sexual deviant you want to have out there.
I agree.
They are not covered under this philosophy.
I agree. Now, this is for men, by men, because men needed it. Everybody else, every other socially divergent, particularly peculiar class of people out there has their representation. They have hundreds and millions and billions of dollars being thrown at them. They're marketed and celebrated and specialized once a month, every month, forever. And then they've got a whole month all by themselves where nothing else is supposed to matter, where every Fortune 500 company jumps on board and says, rah, rah, check them out. We don't have that. We don't get money from the government. We don't get subsidized in any way, shape, or form. We just have most of the population of the world pointing their fingers at us and saying, shut the fuck up, do what you're designed to do, and die quietly. Those days are over.
Oh, and don't forget, between the time you're born and the time you die, you've got to slave away and give almost all of your efforts, your industry, and your time. You've got to devote those to your queen.
Yes, sir. I agree with the sentiment that they're trying to push there, what you just reiterated, but I don't do that. As you can tell, every time I go live or every time I post a video, there's no queen in the video anywhere. And that's by design. I figured out, I've always said that if I had 80% of everything that I ever wanted, I could be very, very happy with that and satisfied. The 20% that I cut out was the her part of it. Because they want too much, they demand too much, and I'm not interested in sacrificing everything to keep them. So I just went ahead and cut them loose and got everything else.
Well, the Rainbow Mafia are also the natural allies and a product of feminism.
Agreed.
They are all part of the same thing. They're all socialists, and every single one of them love to get together and get special rights and privileges.
Well, what do we say, man? If you don't have those bedrock attributes that we talk about, morals, ethics, and values and principles, if you can't control your biology, you are a prime target to learn how to be a victim. And victimology is social credit today.
Yep. So, no marriage. Can't be homosexual and worry about marriage. And we're talking
Correct.
like marriage under God.
Right. The only reason that they say that is because the state made it legal for same-sex marriages to be recognized. That's not marriage under God. Marriage under God is man and woman. There is a hierarchy. She bows to him, man bows to God. Everybody is responsible to one another, period. That's the way that that works.
Yep. And what you're seeing here in the slideshow is just some anti-suffragette posters from back in the day, back when they were trying to pass the 19th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
So not all of our grandfathers were like, oh, we should just give them votes. There was a lot of people against it because they knew, and you'll see in some of these posters, they saw what was going to come, and they were warning people.
Sure. Well, there's a lot of women
with,
that are against it too. You know, even into the current day. Do you know who Phyllis Schlafly is?
Yeah.
Yeah, Phyllis Schlafly. Her daughter or granddaughter is on here. What's her name? Suzanne Venker. Suzanne Venker is related to her directly, and she's on here promoting this shit, or not promoting feminism, but promoting the way that things used to be because it was just the best deal. We had already reached the best social contract. And, you know, people always want to try to push shit and turn things into something else because it could be a little bit better if you just give us more power and more money. Well, we did that. In 100 years, they have destroyed something that took 7,000 years to build.
Yep. Now, what does it tell you when somebody comes in and they take the principles, no marriage, no cohabitation, no new children, and they push those to the side and they focus on men going their own way? You know, they say homosexuals are men. You know, well, that's true, they are.
Well,
so
I'll
shouldn't
agree
they
with you.
be? You know, shouldn't they be MGTOW?
No.
You can't have that.
No.
You just can't have that because what they're doing is they're ignoring the tenets of MGTOW and focusing solely on the name. And somebody who does that has their own agenda. They are pushing something outside of the tenets of MGTOW.
I agree. That's what we call a usurper.
Yep.
That's a usurper. That's somebody that knows what they're doing. They're attempting to subvert people by trying to make their logic. It's very circular logic. But to people that are uninitiated here, to men that are finding this space, men that are saying to themselves, hey, you know, I'm a little confused about shit. I want to find out why my wife fucked my best buddy and his friends while I was overseas. You know, I came home one day, the door was locked. The kids were gone. I want to find out why that happened. And they eventually find this space. It doesn't take very long at all. You've got guys like this that are in here saying that fucking transsexuals, trannies, faggots, and lesbians, the sexually divert, goat fuckers, tree huggers, all of these people can all of a sudden be a MGTOW. It simply is not the truth. That is subversion. It's subversion.
Yep. You know, and sometimes, you know, the reason for it is they're getting, you know, I'd say orders from outside of the manosphere, you know, from some, you know, possibly.
Sure. Think about it. If you were around, and look, some of you were and some of you weren't, but not too long ago, there was this vein that was running through MGTOW in chats, that was running through monk channels in chats, where you would see females that were wrenched up in the chats. How the fuck can you have anything built when you have women that are in a position of authority over men? You can't. You simply can't do that. You can't. You can call yourself anything, but are you? Do you act that way? Do you live that way? You can call yourself a disciple of God. Are you? You can say that you're a Satanist. Are you? Do you live that way? If you don't live that way, then your words are cheap. They're meaningless. They're hollow. They don't mean anything. Charlatans and frauds are easy to spot. They're easy to pick out once you're invested in being better for yourself.
Yep. And what's behind it? Why do they want to be here? Why do they want to infiltrate our spaces? Why are they looking for vulnerable men?
In my opinion, Brandon, I think that it comes down to a few things. I don't think that it's just one factor. I think the most base, obvious factor is jealousy. It's jealousy. It's not being included where you think you fit in. We had this problem a number of years ago where people were calling themselves MGTOW or Red Pill or Monk, and they were really kind of in the wrong space for them. There's no such thing as a married MGTOW. Now, it's rare, but MGTOW do still kind of fuck with women, but it's rare. It's exceedingly rare because once you get to the point where you're calling yourself this, you're aware of what's going on out here in the culture. If you're calling yourself a monk, you're not messing with these people. There's no married monk. I don't have my monk girlfriend out there making me a sandwich somewhere. These things don't exist, and they don't exist for a reason. You don't have to put yourself into a class. Nobody's labeling you. It's 100% voluntary. I volunteered to be that because it was a better fit for me for life. So jealousy, I think, is the number one motivator. The second one, and I think maybe this should be number one, but I think for all of these low-lying people, these ankle biters, all these fucking junkyard dogs that I think is what we're talking about here tonight, these people, it's jealousy. Other people, it's because it's having a tremendous effect economically out here with people disavowing their own slavery.
Well, there's a third one that I'd like to throw in there.
Oh, go on ahead.
I think that these guys, these rainbow fellas, are looking to get a vulnerable man and
sure
him to the dark side because that's
when I first got here,
fantasy.
Yeah, when I first got here, when I first came into this sector, it became obvious to me in just a couple of weeks' time that there were trannies all over this fucking place, looking to become invested in normal men. The thing is that normal men don't do that. They don't go after other gay men. They don't go after gay women, right? They go after normal men. So there was 4 or 5 of them that I chased out of this sphere intentionally on purpose. I put those motherfuckers on blast and I ran them out.
Yeah, and they like they needed to be.
Yes.
So I've also noticed that these charlatans, these infiltrators, like to take parts of what's popular. Undead Chronic smokes a lot of dope.
Yeah.
So you have an infiltrator.
Mm-hmm.
He smokes a lot of dope.
Uh-oh. I think I might know who you're talking about. Well, those 2 assholes were pushed out not too long ago. Well, 6 months ago, maybe. I guess it was about 6 months ago. And
it was April. It was in April.
Was it in April? Yeah. So 10 months, maybe 9 months, 10 months, right around there. And they were pushed out for good reason. When you say to the body politic, we're going to do what we want, when we want, how we want. You can't tell us what MGTOW is. We've come up with our own definition of MGTOW, and it's all inclusive. You're no longer a MGTOW. You're mainstream. So go be mainstream, plain and simple. That's why they have no traction. That's why nobody invests in them, why nobody believes in them. Plain and simple, because they are betraying themselves and their audience simultaneously.
Yep. And they embrace degeneracy.
Absolutely.
And they embrace, the socialist aspects of all of this because they also want the guys that we're talking about, Kush and Bullets, they also love to have women in their stuff.
Yeah.
And, why do they want the women in there? Because the women that they hang out with think that men have absolutely no self will. Our free will is we don't have the ability to determine our own course of action. Everything we do is because we're all puppets of some crazy bitch somewhere, and
Well, I think
that's just not the case.
a
You
lot
know,
of
I
us kind of make that, we kind of make it apparent with our actions. Look, I realize that there are some people out there, females, I'm speaking about females in particular, that are down for what it is that we're talking about because they can think ahead a little bit. They're not two dimensional. They understand what's going on. They understand what the change in the culture is bringing, and it's not going to be good for them. It's not going to be good for them. It's not going to be good for a lot of men too. That's the one thing that people always leave out of the equation. They say, well, men X, Y, and Z, men 1, 2, 3. You do all of this shit. Oh, you're so evil. It's some men, just like it's some women, some whites, some blacks, some Chinese, some Japanese. It's not everybody. It's a very select few people, and we get blanketed pretty harshly. And I will say they do too. They do too. I've always stood by the idea that women are manipulated harshly, but just differently than men, because we are different. But
yeah.
you know,
I don't concern myself with women. I'm not part of some cabal that's anti-woman. I just don't care.
I
You know
agree.
what? I rarely, if ever, maybe once in the last 6 months, have I watched female content on YouTube even.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm definitely not that sparsed out. I watch quite a bit of everything. Everything. I like to know what people are saying, what's kind of ripping through the culture at any given point in time, and it's changing rapidly. I mean, rapidly. But the things that don't change are if you don't want to, if you don't have to. For me, I'm all about the morals, ethics, values, and principles. I'm all about taking care of my space. I'm all about gatekeeping out bad faith actors. And that's what those two are. That's Mr. Cush and Mr. Bullets for Teeth. They're just two in a long line of people that have always done this kind of shit.
Right.
Everybody else has been swept aside, and MGTOW is doing its thing. There is a clear delineation between what PUAs are, what cucks are, what simps are, MGTOW, red pill, monks. There is a clear demarcation point. It cannot be argued anymore. And I will not tolerate that nonsense. And if you're a self-respecting man, you shouldn't either.
And women don't belong here because the entire philosophy of MGTOW was developed to protect men from women.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
if
Well,
you've got a woman in your chat that is wrenched, like you were talking about, no wrenches for wenches.
Right on.
You're going against the Bible to start off with, and secondly, you're empowering the very people who are oppressing your brothers.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. Look, man, like I said, I kind of lost my train of thought there. There's quite a few females that are towing the line when it comes to MGTOW or monk. They understand. But just because they understand doesn't mean that they get an entry key. That's great. It's one less enemy as far as I'm concerned. But and that's just on face value, just based on what they type on a fucking computer. You don't know who they are. I don't know who they are. If they can be civil and decent, cool. I'm all about it. You come out of your mouth one fucking time, it's over. It's over. And I will no longer entertain that type of communication with that person.
I don't even let it go that far. They all have the ability.
I agree.
Every single last one of them has the ability, if they got married, to do that, to put a man into fucking indentured servitude, to take half of his stuff. They could do that. Or if you don't, you're just smash and dash, and they could say, "Oh, grape, grape."
Well, look what just happened. What was his Drake? That bitch tried to take his condom, and he had put hot sauce in the condom, right? And then she tried to fucking sue him because she was attempting to defraud him. Yeah. Then she tried to sue him. So you look, all females now have the proverbial loaded gun that the state hands to them just for having a pussy hole. It comes with the package. When you're born, you get your diapers, you get your baby powder, your talcum, and you get a gat. You get a gat that's loaded with a whole bunch of shit, and they can throw it at you anytime they want. Anytime they want. The abolition now, or I shouldn't say abolition, the returning of abortion rights to states instead of federal oversight is one step. The abolition of alimony, lifetime alimony, is another step. What you need to do is completely eliminate alimony of any kind. 50-50 child support has to be the norm now, unless one of those parents is completely fucked, and the kid is in absolute danger. Going to that parent, shared parenting should be 50-50. When you've got them, you pay. When she's got them, she pays. No money should be getting changed hands there, because all that does is pad that judge, quote unquote judge, because as soon as that judge takes on that case, he becomes a magistrate. She becomes a magistrate. They're in direct violation of their constitutional oath when they do that. A lot of people don't understand that, and I won't get into it here. I don't want to get on a soapbox. But getting rid of child support, getting rid of no-fault divorce, those, in my opinion, will be humongous strides towards putting us back on a path that we kind of need to be on. But you still need to understand that you have other things underneath those, like the Minnesota Duluth Power and Control Wheel. That needs to go away. That's been pushed into all police departments everywhere and has become a matter of record on how to deal with domestic violence. And it's almost always a man that gets his nuts kicked in. All she has to do is say, "I'm afraid." Then the murder squad shows up.
Yep. And that's why we don't want to have, we don't allow women into MGTOW. Women cannot be MGTOW. It's just, you can't have the Skittles. You can't have, to use Rebel Against Defeat's term for them. You can't, they don't belong because they can't follow the tenets of MGTOW.
Look, it's real simple. They are not welcome. They're not welcome. No. I absolutely 100% exclude them at all. That you're not welcome. You can't join because you can't join. This is something for men. It's something for normal men. Otherwise, we would have named it something else. We would have developed the philosophy to include you. We don't want to include you.
You don't need the protections. You've got all the other protections in the world.
Correct.
There are hate laws specifically designed to protect faggots from getting their ass kicked.
I agree.
There's nothing like that for us.
No. Every group of people that is not descended from Europeans is protected. Even the European females are protected. Everybody except white men and some black men that don't toe the line, I have to put that in there, have a protection. They have protection clauses. Which is fucking absurd. It's absolutely absurd. But that's what it is, and that's where we're at. And you can see this shit spiraling out of control. I saw it years ago. So I said, I think I'm kind of done. I'm kind of done. I'm out.
And women, my God, there's everything for women. They have special programs to feed them. They have special programs to house them. They have special programs to give them 120 channels of cable for $1 a month.
Yep.
You know,
Yep, they can get
everything.
Obama phones. They can go and get free medical care. They can show up at some SSI office and then pimp their fucking kid out for 18 years. And then when the kid's 18 and they can't get the SSI anymore, that kid's in a lot of fucking trouble, man. Lot of trouble. So the government offers them every out possible, and they still can't live their lives with any reason or rhyme. So
And
it's not up to me to pick up the fucking pieces for these people and their failed way of living.
And all of those government programs are taken from our taxes.
That's
We
right.
have no say in it.
That's right. You know, we understand, you and I both understand, and I think the majority of your viewers get that there's a saying out there, there's a net taxpayer and a net tax consumer. Yes, the individual female pays taxes if she's got a job, but they consume so much with their entitlement programs that men turn out to be footing the whole fucking bill. They consume everything that they put in taxes and our shit too. So yeah, there's a big problem there. A big problem there.
And if you are married to a woman, she's going to spend 70% of the household income.
Sure.
So,
when I was with them, it was not quite that much, but it was extensive. You know, it was extensive. I don't think men need the way that they need. You know, they need to be constantly soaked in this shit, to be bathing in adoration, in attention, in emotional spasms. They have to have it. And I don't have to have that. I just need a little bit of peace, a little quiet. Oh, hey, can I pick up one of my favorite toys this month, baby? Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, cool. Then I'm good. I'm good. And they still can't live within those means. So yeah, I just cut them loose. Bye.
And even we think we've cut them loose, but we're still fucking paying for their shit. They take it right out of our paychecks.
Well, I agree with you. And that's what we say about.
Forced to serve. We're forced to serve these motherfuckers.
Well, why do you think the IRS just put 88,000 fucking agents on the payroll, brother? I just read a report here not too long ago that record low taxes are being collected. And then you combine that with the fact that all of your mainstream agencies out here are saying, 7 million working men are not working. It's not 7 million. It's probably 10 million men that aren't working. And then you combine that with the amount of overflow that's coming off of the southern border. Oh, buddy, we're in a powder keg. And these people don't know shit until it starts going off. And until people start getting popped all around them, they're not going to understand what's going down. Everybody's deaf, dumb, and blind. And the conspiracy theorist is the only one that really knows anything. Because they're at least trying to stay tuned in and keep their ear to the rail. Everybody else, they don't give a fuck about nothing.
Yeah. And you want to let these people be part of MGTOW. Not you, Hammer, but, you know, people want to bring these people, our oppressors, people who have the full force of government behind them for protections and special programs that give them aid and comfort.
Yeah, if they want to go out and start their own little MGTOW support group, they can do that. You know, they say it's a free country. You can do anything that you want to do, right? If you want to jump off the Empire State Building, you can do it. But is it a good idea? It's not a good idea. Everybody that sees these two assholes that's running around here saying and doing what they're saying and doing, and in addition to the other ones that have been swept out of this space, none of them were accepted. These two guys are not going to be accepted either. They've already blown their wad. They've already tried to undermine everything that exists here for guys that are living their life the MGTOW way or the monk way. So they're done. They're done. And they cannot accept the fact that they're fucking done. Go rebrand. Go do something else. You want to be a pervert and a piece of shit and filth, go do that. You want to be a mentor, then go mentor somebody. But you can't call yourself a MGTOW or a monk while you're doing it because it's dishonest and everybody knows it's dishonest.
Unfortunately, not everybody knows it's dishonest.
They'll
There
figure
are
it
some,
out.
there's some people out there who are hanging on, and there's a third guy you ought to include in there, and that's unwanted contriver.
I don't know
Because
what his problem is, man. I don't believe now. Don't hold me to it, but I don't believe I've ever had any direct conversation or email with this fella, unless it was some nasty snide comment in one of my chats. But I don't recall ever saying or doing anything to this fella, and he's been on my ass for years.
yeah,
So I just, it's whatever floats your boat. If you need that to survive and get up in the morning, then by all means, here's a chunk of ass, grab onto it and start biting. Because it doesn't affect me. Doesn't bother me at all. Doesn't
yeah,
bother me. So fuck them.
fuck them all.
Fuck them. Fuck them.
So we really need to just remember the basics of MGTOW. No marriage, no cohabitation, no children. And if anybody tries to twist those words, the man is, men going their own way.
Mm-hmm.
Just understand. People need to just understand that that's somebody with an agenda that's not good for you, trying to incorporate people into the sphere that don't belong.
I agree.
That's the complete message of the show tonight.
I agree. That's the little Mongolian princess that walks up to the prince behind the gate and key at the Great Wall, and he just lets her in. That's how the Mongolian horde got into China. Right? He's my man. You built the Great Wall. You took hundreds of years to get it done, and then your dick got hard, and you let them in. And this is what happens is when people feel that they have an opportunity, they will sabotage you. They'll sabotage your life's work. They'll throw you under the fucking bus just to get a little bit of validation from somebody. So that's not what we need. That's not what we want. And guys, if you're not on your square, get on your square. If it's too difficult for you to be MGTOW or monk, make up your mind what it is that you want out of life and pursue that. But stop calling yourself these things. Stop identifying with it if it's not you. Nobody's forcing you to be here.
No. Just because you want to hang out with the cool kids doesn't mean you get to hang out with the cool kids if you're not going to play the game that we're playing. It's like we're playing baseball and you guys want to come in and play cricket. Not going to happen.
Yeah, it's similar, but it's not the same. And the differences aren't minor. They're humongous differences. They're huge differences. We don't abide by debauchery. We don't abide by sexual proclivities. So, yeah, if you guys find yourselves wondering about what you are, to me, it's not really a surprise in this day and age because it's pushed so heavily. And in the midst of a single mother epidemic, it's a perfect storm. So I understand why that there are a lot of men out there questioning themselves. But don't question yourself. Don't question yourself so harshly. Figure out who and what you are. If that's what you need to be, I'm not going to tell you that it's great, that it's a wonderful thing, that it's a great idea. It's not. It's a terrible fucking idea. It's a terrible idea. And you have a choice. You're not born this way, men. You're made this way. So a lot had to go wrong in life to steer you onto that boat. And as sure as you got steered onto it, you can be steered off of it. Just figure out what it is that you want out of life. That's it. No more moralizing.
No. Well, if you're a MGTOW, that doesn't mean that you have to be a monk. Hammer and I are monks.
No,
there's a bunch of other people that are monks, but you don't have to be a monk.
No, you don't.
As long as you do the 3 tenets: no marriage, no cohabitation, no kids.
No,
every day.
I'd like to amend that just a touch. No additional or unwanted children.
Right.
A little bit of a nitpick, but no additional or unwanted children. Don't add to the system of usury and slavery. Every time you drop your seed in a woman, the potential for that to become horrifying for you is very good. Very, very, very big upside for them. Very big downside for you. So just no additional or unwanted children.
Yep. Because at minimum, you're going to be spending at minimum. This is the minimum child support I've heard of in the last year. You're going to be spending $6,000 a year for 18 years.
Yeah, I mean, think about those numbers. Those are staggering numbers. If you took that kind of dough and you put that towards your retirement or towards a house and a car, your life is taken care of right then.
That's the minimum.
Minimum.
I was paying $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
So I was paying a hell of a lot more than that.
You're paying a lot more. You're basically paying rent on $1,000 fucking apartment in addition to what you have to pay out for your own life expenses. You're covering them. You're paying their way. It's not a wonder to me that all of these bitches don't sit back on their thumbs and just spend the money that is extorted from the man. There's no fucking kid out there, no 5-year-old out there or 10-year-old out there that needs $1,500 worth of anything a month. Thank God you're not these guys like Tyrese. This motherfucker's his bitch is trying to get $20,000 a month, and she makes $160,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had 50-50 custody. So I had the kids half the time.
Yeah. And you're still having to pay out? No way,
yes.
Bro. No fucking way.
That's 50-50 custody in Texas, brother.
Yeah, well, Texas is not as red as everybody thinks it is it?
Well, they're red in some things, but they're certainly not red about divorce. They're blue pill simps, top to bottom.
Nope.
White knights, all in black robes.
Yep. No, thank you. That's that one fucker that just got smoked. Oh, well. I mean, when you preside over here and you say, sir, yeah, we're going to dissolve your marriage. You're going to lose contact with all 4 of your kids. You're going to give her $1,500 a month. She gets the house. She gets the fucking car. And have a nice day, please. That motherfucker is on the list. You're on the list. When you do that to somebody, unless they're incredibly strong, somebody's going to get murdered. Somebody's going to get murked.
Yeah, I don't encourage any type of violence against our justices, but I can understand it.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm not in favor of going out and smoking them, but I understand it when it happens. So women, when you say something like that to females, any of them out here today, they look at you like you're a space alien because they don't get subjected to it by and large. It's very, very rare to see a woman get raked over the coals in child extortion court. It simply does not happen. It's very rare, exceedingly rare. But it happens to guys about 800,000 times a year. That's not an exaggeration.
And that's why MGTOW was invented. To
Correct.
Protect you guys from making the stupid mistakes people like me made.
Yeah, bud. It's bad news, man. It's bad news. I made the same errors and the same thing happened, and it was always going to be the same thing happening. Most men do not understand that when they drop their seed in a woman or they sign on the dotted line on a 3-party marriage contract, they don't realize what they're doing. They do not understand how much they're hurting themselves when they do that. Because at that point in time, you go from being a sovereign of yourself to being a slave. You're just waiting. And they don't know. They have no idea until it starts to go bad. Then they find out real fast.
Yeah, and what you thought was a fairy tale turns out to be a horror story.
Yeah, it's a fucking nightmare. It's a nightmare. I did it once. I'll never do it again. I wish I had known then what I know now. And it can be argued that is the failure of the prior generations to not prepare their sons and grandsons. That can definitely be argued. I don't lay it all at their feet, but some of it, absolutely.
It's like, these cartoons that are playing. They knew, most of them knew, but the politicians at the time didn't listen to the people who were saying, don't do it.
I think that the politicians always kind of understood what was going on. Some of them will be left out in the cold. Some of them will legitimately be deaf, dumb, and blind. but some of them knew what was happening and why it was happening. The only reason that ever went down that way was so that they could tax these bitches, so that they could hand them a paycheck 40 hours a week and take 23 to 30% of their productivity from them, like they were doing to us. How do you make these bitches want to get off of the couch? You turn them into an oppressed class. And that was easy to do. It was easy. Yeah, it was easy.
Very easy. And it's some of our forefathers saw it coming.
Yes.
But most of them just they didn't get it.
Well, no, I don't. I think it took time for it to filter down, even through the hierarchy. We tend to think that this, like the United States, the way it's run, the government, that it's a well-oiled machine. We know it's a clusterfuck, right? But how does it keep going? And blah, blah, blah. They must know what they're doing. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I really believe that with these massive governments, one hand rarely knows what the other hand is doing. And with the amount of information that we've received in that vein over the last 10 years, it's pretty easy to justify that statement. It takes a while for this stuff to wash down through culture. And the real power brokers, the people that really sat down and thought this shit up, they're sitting in mansions in Zurich. They're sitting in mansions in Brussels. They're sitting in mansions in Tel Aviv. These are the real people that sat down and thought this up, the people that are sitting in Washington in the highest seats. They knew what they were doing. Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing with the creation of the Federal Reserve. That's another story, another video. But they knew what they were doing.
And they know what they're doing with the empowerment of the homosexuals and the rest of the alphabet mafia.
That's correct.
These guys are in there to disrupt. They're in there to reduce our population.
Sure.
There's 25% of the kids graduating high school now that are faggots, that are trans, that are, this is the generation of weak men.
I agree with you 100%. They should have waited just a little bit. Let them Gen Xers die off, baby. They didn't wait long enough.
We may be too old to do anything about it. I don't know.
I'm not too old to talk.
That's all we can do right now, because how are we going to fight against the power of the state other than going, no, don't do this, you idiots, you fucking morons. Stop this shit.
Well, you just show them, right? That's how you fight against anything. That's why the power to censure people and censor them is so strong. And in certain political circles, it's so wanted, right? Like what we're doing right now. This video will probably get flagged.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't care.
So I mean, it is what it is, Brandon. But that's why the push to erase the First Amendment and the Second Amendment is so strong. It's so strong.
And the Fifth Amendment.
Sure, the Fifth. Hopefully, we'll get the 19th in there, but it's not the same group of people, so I don't think that's going to happen.
No, they want to be able to, do illegal searches and seizures whenever they feel like it.
Well, they're doing it.
You're a bad person.
Yeah, they're doing it. They're doing it, plain and simple. I mean,
they're pushing it hard.
Sure, the thought process on that is that if things go wrong in a no-knock warrant, and you get smoked, well, he was shooting at us. Well, it's a no-knock warrant. So it seems like you're being broken into, like somebody's trying to fucking raid your house. So of course you're going to grab your gat if you've got one. And it's all the authorization that cops need is to kill you on a no-knock warrant. In my opinion, that's the whole purpose of a no-knock warrant.
Oh yeah, it's a murder. It's a murder squad.
Yeah, it's a murder squad. So they just have the blessing of the state.
Oh.
What's up, man? What's on your mind?
Oh, I was missing Frank because I saw Riggs came in here and he gave the old Frank call. Our brother 1-800-DUMB from New Zealand has been really sick.
He's been in my comments here the last week or so.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's getting better.
I hope so too.
I hope so, man. I don't like to hear that any of our regulars are under the weather or down or anything like that, man. I want these guys here, and I want them in good mental shape. I don't care if you're a donut eater or you smash pizzas, just be in good mental shape and take care of business, man. Yeah, it pains me to see that our guys are ailing. I don't want that for them.
Yep. Well, I think we have said all that we need to say tonight about not having non-normal people in MGTOW.
MGTOW is for normal men. Monk is for normal men, plain and simple. Normal men. It doesn't mean gay men. It doesn't mean trannies. It doesn't mean lesbians. It doesn't mean female to male. It doesn't mean anything other than normal men. These people know that they are abnormal. They know that something is wrong with them upstairs and they're being taken advantage of. They're being used. No disrespect, no undue, no untoward disrespect towards them, but you're not welcome. You're not welcome. Stop trying to force yourselves in. Stop trying to take invitations from people that are fire starters, that are just trying to cause problems. So we know who all of those people in the community are. And they have no weight here. They have no traction here. And they have no chance of making that happen.
And I'll sign this stream off the way I sign every stream off. No marriage, no cohabitation, and no new children.
There you go.
If you want kids, get a surrogate. It's a lot cheaper in the long run.
I agree. Still has its drawbacks, but yes, it is.
All right. Thank you all for coming. And I'll be on the road bright and early tomorrow morning about 4 a.m.
Oof.
So thank you very much for coming, Hammer.
Peace, guys.
All right.